Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome to a sketchbook tour. So, I recently got in the habit of actually finishing my sketchbooks, which is new to me because usually I just start them and I have like a gazillion of them lying around and I never really finish them. But I did finish this one and also the one underneath, and I wanted to do a sketchbook tour. Quick disclaimer, don't expect much perfection. There is a lot of stuff going on, and not everything is fully rendered, and there's just a lot of chaos. So I started off with some comfort sketches. Ink is always like a comfort thing for me. And originally, this one was also black and white, but I started experimenting with color in the beginning of the year and started to take it from there. So I do keep it quite in a monochromatic range because it's a bit more comfortable still, and I'm not really that great with choosing colors. But yeah, that's what I had. I do a lot of just sketches to, work on my portrait skills, and yeah, that's definitely a page of that kind. And I take my references from pretty much anywhere. It could be TV shows, could be Google, whatever. I'm pretty sure this one was a Google picture that I just pulled up somewhere. But for like most of the sketchbook stuff, I don't really track it. I really do like working with a red pencil because it's a bit softer than a normal pencil. But yes, that's kind of my go-to. It's a bit stupid that this sketchbook is this format and the camera isn't really, but let's try it this way. A bit more pencil sketches. I really tried getting a bit more expression in here, but I wasn't really sure if it's gonna be like cartoony or if I wanted to go realistic, so it got a weird mix. But well, and here, this one I think can perhaps be recognized if you know the show Once Upon a Time. I think it's on Disney. This is like the main character, Emma Swan, or at least those two are. And I tried to capture her while I was watching the show. Yeah, and then I took it from there. As I thought like, okay, why not add a little bit of color? It's unusual for me, but I really do like watercolor, and kind of just started to experiment a little with it. And I really like how this came out. Like I really like it. And she has freckles, so that's cool. Yeah, that's the first one where I started really going for the color. I think I did this before the green one on the first page. Yeah, and I kind of went with a monochromatic look, but it has some blues and purple, so it's not really the same color, but in the same range. And I really like how this turned out, and it made me realize I kind of want to dig into that a little. And I did that because last year I did a cooperation with a marker manufacturer, and they sent me quite a lot of colors as well, and I was like, it would be a shame to let them go to waste. So that's what I did with that. Yeah, some sketches that did not turn out the way I intended them. Like there's quite a bit of not so pretty stuff in my sketchbooks, and I do abandon them on the occasion. Here's something that's, again, alright. Green tones. I was kind of imagining something different from it, but I'm not mad at it, so that's alright. There's nothing wrong with working just on portraits. And here, we're going a bit wilder again. I really like the background with this because, there's just so much going on. Usually I don't like working with this broad chisel tip, but for like backgrounds and effects, that actually works pretty well. And I really like how this one came out. And again, it's in the monochromatic range, but I'm just finding my way around the colors. So that's one of the earlier results that I really like. And just a pencil sketch. And I do have to say, I really don't like working with pencil, but I'm getting there. So this one, again, I did the effect with the chisel tip. At the time, I was thinking like, yeah, that looks great. And now I'm like, maybe not so much. So here's a quick little sketch in between, and it actually has a date. I sometimes write the date down when I do those, and in retrospect I should do that much more often, but I tend to forget. So another red pencil sketch. Also at the time I was thinking like, yeah, I'm really onto something, and then I kind of lost interest again. But I mean, as a sketch for a sketchbook, that's all right. And here I was really inspired to draw people that I saw on my For You page, and it's a great exercise in general. Like if you're, you know, wanting to practice your portrait skills, you know, just go for it. On TikTok there is so much variety and diversity in people. You will always find some sort of a challenge, and yeah, that's what I did here. Yes, those pages. I got into gouache drawings like ages ago. Half a year ago I bought myself one of those, you know, those big boxes of gouache paintings that don't cost much. I think it was less than $30, but I really wanted to try it. I tried gouache in uni before, and I had quite the unpleasant memories of that, but I was just, you know, curious to see how things change over time, and I gave it a go. And I do have to say, it behaves very different. It's definitely not what I'm used to. I'm not mad at it for someone who's just, you know, starting with it and trying stuff out. It's really not that bad. So that's that page. I try to portrait because I don't go for easy stuff. I just have to jump right in. And I mean, like, it could be worse. It could be worse, but it's definitely not great, and that's okay. It's a learning curve. And because portraits aren't hard enough for me, I went for a hand. And, well, I mean, I'm not mad at it. To be honest, I'm not mad at it, but it's just very different to markers. A quick watercolor sketch, which I'm not really sure where I wanted to go with this. And this one was actually, I saw this girl on my For You page, and I thought she was absolutely gorgeous, and I just had to paint her. And that's the result. Yeah, I really like how this came out. It's a mix of ink. Like for the background, I laid down some ink, which is not like watercolor, like it's permanent once it's dried. And then I added, like, I think some markers, some watercolor, some gouache, some white highlight. Yeah, I really like it. Yeah, that really encouraged me to dive a bit deeper into the mixed media gouache thing. So here's another few pencil sketches where I was experimenting a little with style. This is actually not my style. I had a comic book that I bought in Sweden, and I really liked it. And because, like, you know, you learn by copying stuff, I copied it and then took some variations from it where I started adding things how I would do them. And it's just a study page, really. Here, I think I was in a workshop and I did have my sketchbook with me, and they didn't have any gouache or watercolors, so I went with acrylic, and I really don't like it. Acrylics are giving me such a hard time. So yeah, but for a sketchbook page, that's alright as well. Actually, blank page. Nice. Also, I think in between here should have been now the Sea of Fire painting, but because that one is sold, it's no longer in the sketchbook. Towards the end of the sketchbook, I started with a 3 marker challenge, which I did draw randomly, and they happened to match the colors of the pattern pride flag. That's how the idea came up. Like it was giving me a lot of bubblegum vibes, and originally I wasn't even thinking about making it with pride colors now, but people were like, yeah, that is the pride flag, you should really, you know, can you do more? And I was like, sure, I'm all up for the game. Then I just started, you know, experimenting with the different flag colors, and because, you know, I'm still new to color, I really like the challenge in it, because, like, you know, that way I get to experiment with different colors, and even if I don't agree with the color choice, you know, I have to make it work, kind of, and that's a really cool challenge. I really like how this is coming out. That's already the last page of this sketchbook, but I would actually like to show you what's already going on in my new sketchbook. Let's keep this one in mind. So I kind of did start the sketchbook already while I was still working on this one, which, as I said before, like, I do work parallel in a couple of sketchbooks most of the time. So yeah, like this I started doing mermaid, and there's some mermaids, and I originally thought like those could be mermaids, but then I thought like that might be a bit overkill, and I just wanted to focus on the colors of the pride flags. Yeah, here's another watercolor mermaid. I don't really like that too much, but you know, it's all about the process and figuring out how stuff works. And same as gouache, I still have a hard time with the watercolors. Now, speaking of gouache again, this is the first portrait in gouache that really works for me, and I really like how this came out. It did take me a very long time though. I think I went back and forth to this one for, I think, 2 or 3 days, even though you might see the video where I draw it like in under a minute. Usually it does take quite a long time. Here we're back in the pride color range. Yeah, that's the next one. I think they look really nice next to each other. I kind of have to come up with something to put them all next to each other, like I don't know, maybe postcards or stickers or something of the sort. And here's the next one. Oh, they look really sweet together. I really like also the color combination of the two of them. One more. I really like the hairstyle. If I were a bit braver, maybe I would do it. But I also really like my hair the way it is. I know it grows back. So this is actually from the creator Rat Girl Studios on TikTok. I saw her draw this really cute drawing and I was like, hey, this is so cool. Can I maybe, like, you know, draw this in my style? And she was so sweet to let me do it, and to allow me to do it. And I think it came out really cool. You know, the thing is, this one actually, in comparison to like the pride color things, this one has a little bit of a more realistic, I know it's a fantasy theme, but it has like a realistic color theme. So that was really hard for me to work with. And I started off with a skin tone, and in between I really thought I screwed this up. Yeah, I think it came out very nice. So if you want to check out the original, Rat Girl Studios is the original creator, and she has really pretty art as well. Yeah, another of the pride colors, and I really like how this came out. I really like that there's some sort of monochromatic most of the time, but not really. Every now and then there's a little bit of variation. I really like the color choices in general. So here's another one of those. Like, yeah, it's pretty pink, but like you have also this really bright blue in it. And I think it just does something very well to the contrast. I think so far that's that. That's my current sketchbooks. But you saw that I also have a third sketchbook, which is from the 2020-2021 years. This is definitely older stuff, and it's also still some of the stuff that I did while I was in uni. So this is some of the stuff that I did while I was in uni, or better said, some of the stuff that I did while I was in a lecture in uni, just, you know, doodling away, listening to the professor. And yeah, there is some more concept stuff and some stuff that's rather hard to explain. I think that was actually an exercise that we did for one of the classes where we had to, like, we were giving an adjective and then we had to do a single line that depicted that. For example, draw a line that stutters or a line that's drunk. So yeah, that were some of the exercises, and we did the same for shapes. It's, you know, I think it's a good practice, but like when you see those things in the sketchbook, you later on are like, what the heck is that? I think that was like we had to draw chairs that were given adjectives, but let's get past that. Some weird creatures, and that's where we're diving into the concepts. And this one was like a really rough one. I think I was working on concepts for costumes for the opera The Magic Flute, but that didn't really go anywhere. So here's a few more doodles, and I just had like, you know, pencil and, you know, one of those text highlighter markers. Doesn't have to be great. A sketchbook is for experimenting, and yeah, that's what it is. Like, here's a bit more of the darker stuff and some cartoonish stuff. Like, that's supposed to be me, my cartoon me. Every now and then, I really would like to draw a webcomic, but every time I get started, I notice how much time it takes to actually produce it, and I run out of time. So far, we're just in the planning stage and in the sketchbook stage of that. But maybe one day I will manage. I think here I was trying out some markers from a brand that I hadn't used before, and I was not too impressed with it, so I didn't continue. This sketch was the original planning of Ivy Bride, which is one of the artworks I show the most. Let me get that real quick. I think I just did like a really, really loose concept before I started thinking like, this could actually turn into something. And this is the sketch, and this is what it turned into eventually. Like the idea, I do catch it, and then, you know, you just take it from there. Sketchbooks don't have to be perfect, they're just meant to inspire. So that's what came out of that. Yeah, some anatomy practices. I think those were for Christmas cards. I really do like drawing my own Christmas cards and sending them to people, because I think it like has a little like handmade factor, which is like, I always appreciated people, but if they don't, that's cool by me too. Yeah, some anatomy practice, because like, you know, I was looking at muscles and where they're placed, because I still don't know where all of them are. I think here we're not really going in chronological order. I think I did 15 to 20 minute sketches every day in the morning before I started work, and every time it was a little bit different. I think the next pages are going to be a lot of variation in style and medium. I actually really do like the sketch. I think I have to continue with that one. I forgot that I had it, but I really like curls. I really like big wavy curly hair. Big pencil sketch, some more sketches. Like, I think this one took me much more time than I originally planned, so that's why it's just a short one. But for a 10-minute sketch, I think that's all right. Some more 10-minute sketches. I mean, if you just have 10 minutes, you don't really have time to work out the detail. I think this one was also like 10-15ish minutes. That's actually like a year ago. Cool, nice. So then, like, what I did here is I didn't have much time, so I blacked out the hair and later went back with acrylics and dabbed that over. And I really like the idea of it, and I think I want to go back to the idea and revisit that one. So I think I want to do something like that again, because I think the effect is really cool. Some more line sketches. Here I tried some, you know, shading with you know, just simple lines instead of actually using gray tones. And this was like a study to see how a singular color affects black and white line art. Remember, that's before I started working with colors, very cautiously using color. Portrait sketch of a guy, and I think that came out all right. Like, the funny thing is I used to draw mostly guys. At some point it just turned into me mostly drawing females, and now I kind of do have a hard time drawing guys. That one turned out all right though. Oh, we got a hand. We have a hand. The sketch for another artwork that I did, but it's definitely a good hand study. And like, you know, especially drawing hands, like, I think it's always difficult, you know, to just draw from imagination. So every now and then, once in a while, I go back to practicing drawing hands. Some classic eyes, because I think there is no sketchbook where there isn't a sketch with just eyes staring at you. And I think this is some where I was working with some solid shading. Not the greatest fan. Like, I think this came out much better, even though the drawings might not be perfect, but it was a much better practice. Practicing shadows that way, I definitely do recommend. Another thing that's just as hard as drawing hands, or in my opinion even harder, is feet. I'm not particularly fond of feet, but you know, as an artist, you kind of want to be able to draw everything, so I do practice them. Yeah, you can see there is like a lot of detail, but like once you get over the initial fear of feet, it actually, you know, it's a great exercise. Another mix of solid lines and simple line shading. I don't really like her expression, but the sketch in general is not too bad. Some more faces, and I wasn't really happy with the expressions here. But again, for 10 minutes, 4 heads, I think that's all right. More of that. I was practicing some facial expressions here. It's a sketchbook. It's a sketchbook. Like, it's not perfect, but again, it's a great practice. Some more dudes. And I think here at some point I just forgot to add the shading, but I didn't forget here. So this one I really like. The hard part about this one was actually because like the head is like, you know, slightly turned, like you're looking from slightly underneath, and drawing noses from underneath is always hard, so it's a great practice. Some more shading and simple line shading, and I really like how this plan came out. Classic anatomy again. Those are like 10-minute sketches each, so there is not too much time to work on it, but like, you know, it's enough to get a feeling for where all the muscles are supposed to be, where you have to pay attention to. I think there was like a few pose ideas that I did but never really finished. This one I think this is one of my favorite pieces in the sketchbook. I really like how this came out. Also, I really like that, you know, the hair. I get really worked up doing the hair in detail, and here I just started cross hatching, which I usually also don't do. I really like it. And this one was, I think, some inking exercise with my brush pen. Yeah, that's some late night doodles that came out well. It's actually funny because like most of the time when I just sit down, you know, in the evening without the intention of filming something or, you know, creating something for anyone else to see, those tend to be the ones that look the best. I really like this double page. Like, it's a good one. This one, not so much. I don't know. It is a few more. They're not as great as this page, so let's pretend this one is my finishing page. And that's the sketchbook of 2020 and 2021. That was a quick tour through my recent sketchbooks. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to, I can also show you my very first sketchbook, which is quite a different level compared to what I'm doing now, but that's the whole point of them, you know, for you to improve and to, you know, document your art journey. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you would like to see more, let me know. We can also do a rundown of all the sketchbooks, which will probably be quite funny to look at. If you would like to see more, please subscribe to my channel. And you can also check out all the art tutorials that I already have posted. There is more coming, and there's definitely more art related content of any kind coming. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. I'm looking forward to see you again. I hope you have a great day and see you soon.